As a Palestinian, I felt obliged to respond positively to the invitation, given the current circumstances and situation in Palestine. I bet you all know what's going on there. I'm also honored to address you today, not on behalf of only the Central Election Commission in Palestine, but also on behalf of my colleagues from Lebanon and Jordan, who delegates me to share their experiences today visiting a variety of numbers of polling centers. But let me emphasize one thing. We, as observing the election day, focused on the procedural aspect of the parliamentary election. So we haven't got the chance to look at the whole electoral environment since the call for election. So our comments regarding today is only focused on today observation. We visited a number of centers in Dhaka and surrounding areas like Tongi. In all center visited, we noticed quiet and peaceful environment, not only in the voting center, but also commuting between voting centers, in the streets, in the roads, approaching the center as well. The procedures we observed in the election commission, in the election centers, voting centers, were very simple and very straightforward. It was easy for the voters, I mean citizens, to go there and cast their votes. And I timed the voting time per voter. It ranges between 1 minute 15 seconds to 2 minutes 30 seconds. That depends on age, of course, and gender, and so on and so forth. But this is very good by international standard. Also, we noticed that staff in the polling center are well informed, and not only that, but well trained to deal with the voting process. We noticed also a gender balance in the within polling staff. So there were, a balanced representation of staff in the voting centers, male, female. One very most important remark I noticed personally is the efficient use of available physical resources. We visited a number of schools, colleges, and one university, I think, and one hospital. I mean, the maximum use of spaces available with modest physical facilities were used to the maximum, and I want to commend the Election Commission for that, as well as the staff. Presiding officers in all voting centers were competent and enjoyed leadership qualities. Parties, candidate agents were happy about the voting process, as well as all citizens we interviewed and talked to. And we were impressed by the fact that people were bringing their kids along with them to share the experience. In summary, I want to commend the experience we shared today with the Election Commission and with the Bengali people. And again, I thank you very much for having me the chance, or offering me the chance to participate in this glorious day. Thank you very much. All right. So we can take, my colleague from Jordan is here as well, so we can take any questions and we'll be happy to answer them.
Will there be any mic here?
Thank you. As you said, you observed the procedures of the election, and you are very happy the way it has been done. But I'd like to know what are the voters' turnout in terms of other countries, you have observed elections in other countries.
You mean compared to other countries? Can I have a, so I can answer the question? Thank you. حبيبي الله يسعدك بالعكس شرف كبير. Yes.
Okay. You know, some violence is happened outside of Dhaka. Do you have any concern about that or any experience about it? Any comment on it?
Okay.
Here.
Hello, here. In most places, we can see that there were only ruling parties, workers and leaders in the polling centers, and no other candidates were seen in the polling centers. Have you find these things?
Can you repeat your question, please? Repeat your question.
Yeah, in most places, we can see there are only ruling parties, leaders and workers in the polling centers, but no other parties' candidates were not were seen in the polling centers. Have you find these things?
Can I answer the first three so Listen, to respond to the first question about your election compared to other elections. I came recently from Zimbabwe. And it was contested elections again, and boycotted by the West. As I said in my very first statement, we are here to judge the voting process, where the voting centers were opened according to international standard, where voters allow access, whether the staff were competent, and whether the closing and counting is good. We haven't approached the closing and counting yet. So this is how we built a picture about what we see. So far, your election, you should be proud of the process, voting process. As people of Bangladesh, you should be proud of the election commission. I mean, I'm not here to judge the political environment. This is not my duty. To do that, you have to live in the country at least minimum for 1 month to get to know, the political landscape. I'm not a politician. I represent a Central Election Commission in Palestine. What you do, guys, here in Bangladesh and Dhaka is exactly like we do in Palestine. It's exactly as it's being done in Jordan, which I quite know about Jordan Election Commission, and within the Arab world. So we all follow the international standard for that. As I said, in our way, we haven't noticed any sign of violence. All roads leading to voting center were, I was wondering why shops are closed. Nobody in the street. The city was quiet, as well as the voting centers again were quiet. And we talked to people who voted and people who were as party agents, as observers, and they were all happy and content about that. We didn't ask political party leader or candidate leader whether they are representing the ruling party or not representing other parties. So I cannot answer that question.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes.
Good afternoon. I am Rizvin Awaz, working in Channel I. Thank you so much for all the pain you have taken to observe this election. You know, this election is very much important for Bangladesh, as there are geopolitical issues, many pressures from outside Bangladesh. So why do you think this election was so important for you to come here? Number one. Number two, our Prime Minister this morning, after casting her vote, she told that her only intention is to can you hear?
The second portion of your question.
Okay. After casting her vote, our Prime Minister this morning told that her only intention is to give back the power of choosing candidate by the people. So you have visited many centers. What is your observation regarding this comment? Thank you.
Yes. Okay. I was asked this question twice yesterday. I mean, you are coming from a country under war. Is it that important to come to Bangladesh? Were you forced to come to Bangladesh? Were you forced by the government of Bangladesh to come? No, sir. We have stronger ties with Bangladesh, Palestine and Bangladesh. And we received invitation. As I told you, 3 months ago I was in Zimbabwe. We were receiving invitations. So whenever we have invitation, we respond to invitation. I came from the West Bank, which is not a war zone like Gaza. So I was able to cross to Jordan and flying to Bangladesh through Kuwait. So I enjoyed the liberty movement, unlike Gazans people. So whenever we are invited to a country that, you know, we have good relationship with them, we go. I'm here in another hat. I represent also, I'm by coincidence, the head of the executive office of the Arab electoral management bodies. And that body represents 12 member states. So in my report, I will be reporting to my country, I will be reporting to that organization. So yes, it's important to respond to invitation. The most important thing is to share experience, your experience, and the experience we saw today with our colleagues in Bangladesh. So we learn from each other during these visits. It's not political visits, it's not a show visit, it's professional visits. Your second part of the question, I mean, I already, in my opening statement, I replied to that. So we were happy. Now, regarding with whether the Prime Minister will give power to, that's for you, that's for the government to do, not for me. I mean, what we saw today, in summary, is a good process, good voting process in a voting day.
Thank you.
One question, please. I'm Med Joshi from the Business Post. You visited the polling centers and you found very good environment, good process. It's okay. What is your observation as an international observer that the turnout of the votes is satisfactory? Till 3 p.m., 26% votes were casted. What is your opinion as an international opinion? Is it satisfactory?
You are talking about turnover, yes? Participation rate. I don't know what's the participation rate till now. In the early morning when we were touring the centers, it was very low. And people were expecting that percentage to rise up. But listen, if you are registered in the voter list, and I know registry is not obligatory here in Bangladesh, and you decline of going voting, I mean the percentage goes from the register, and nobody is forcing anybody to vote. You take certain countries where voting, I mean you have to vote by law. So I cannot comment whether it's 10%, 15%. That's a message from the audience to the certain election, and that message should be analyzed by politicians, by academia in Bangladesh rather than an international observer like me. But we saw so many elections in Jordan, for example. In Jordan, which is my colleague, 35% election, 35%. So I mean, it was good election as well, and things are stable until, I mean, they are planning for next election next year, I think, or so. So one cycle, you know, rounded with 30%, 35%. So again, it has to be analyzed, studied by politicians and the research center like yourself and maybe universities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kuer,
Thank
for
you.
your valuable observation. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because he already, he's already scheduled for a
Order backpack নাই ছিল না
আপনি রিজার্ভ করেন যে আপনি মাইক্রোফোন রাখতে পারেন That guy is from Russian.
Now is working, sorry. So now Mr. Andrei Shita, member of Central Election Commission of the Russian Federation, and his colleague will share their experiences with us.
Дорогие друзья, уважаемые коллеги, мне очень приятно в этот день, очень значимый день для политической жизни Бангладеш, присутствовать здесь, в столице дружественного нам государства, и вести наблюдение за избирательным процессом. Я получил много новых впечатлений о порядке, организации, проведения выборов в Бангладеше. Извините, технические неполадки. Несколько слов хотел бы сказать о тех впечатлениях, которые у меня остались от посещения избирательных участков. Все было организовано на достаточно высоком уровне. Меня приятно поразила открытость этих выборов, когда каждый избиратель мог получить информацию о кандидатах, о том, как организованы выборы. То есть на любой вопрос организаторы на участковых комиссиях давали развернутые ответы. Были наблюдатели на каждом избирательном участке, которые представляли самые различные политические партии. Было очень много журналистов, и это тоже одно из обстоятельств, которое позволяет судить о том, что эти выборы были открытыми и демократичными. Поэтому очень эффективно сработала избирательная система Бангладеш. И мы можем говорить о том, что сложились определенные традиции выборов в этой республике, Бангладеш, Народной Республике Бангладеш. И эти традиции свидетельствуют о том, что политические процессы в республике развиваются стабильно, поступательно. На прочной на прочной демократической основе. И это чрезвычайно важно, особенно я еще хотел бы одно обстоятельство отметить в ходе этих выборов. Обеспечение безопасности. Обеспечение безопасности избирателей, избирательных участков. Это тоже в наше нестабильное время чрезвычайно важно. Ну, а сейчас я готов, наверное, ответить на вопросы. Я думаю, что это будет наиболее оптимально. Пожалуйста.
Thank you very much. I'm Rizvin. I was working in Channel I. This morning you were in the Bitown Nasan school, a nearby center, and you met the contest, one of the contestant, MP contestant, and you were talking with him while you said that some country don't want to see Bangladesh in a stable position. Actually, what did you mean? Thank you.
Вы знаете, я хотел бы такой дать общий ответ, поскольку мы живем в мире, который переходит от гегемонии одной отдельно взятой страны к многополярному миру.
I would like to give you a general answer, given the fact that we live in a time of transition from a unipolar world with one hegemonic state to a multipolar world.
К миру, где будет множество центров политического влияния. Понятно, что это не всех устраивает. Понятно, что представители старого миропорядка, они так просто не уступят и будут вести очень серьезную, мощную войну, что, собственно, и происходит. И в ход пускаются самые различные средства, мы это все видим. И современная политическая жизнь, в том числе и международная, дает тому каждый день множество примеров. Поэтому самостоятельные страны, которые проводят самостоятельную, основанную на собственных национальных интересах политику, они не устраивают адептов старого миропорядка. И в ход пускаются самые различные средства. И мы также, вы как журналисты, наверняка больше меня знаете, что это за средства. Поэтому я вот это как раз и имел в виду. Мне импонирует, что Народная Республика Бангладеш проводит политику, которая основана на собственных национальных интересах. Но это не всем нравится. Именно это я имел в виду, когда мы общались с одним из кандидатов в парламент на этих выборах.
This is Tani Mohammed from Bureralo. My question is, as an election observer, how you will describe the engagement of the voter in vote center, and same time, what is the difference you find between our election and other countries' election that you've been observed? Thank you.
Я не раз выезжал с миссией международного наблюдателя на выборах.
I visited several countries as an international observer.
Хотя мой стаж пребывания в Центральной избирательной комиссии Российской Федерации это всего 2,5
So I
года.
have been a member of the Central Election Commission of the Russian Federation for only 2.5
Но
years.
мне удавалось выезжать.
But I managed to visit several countries.
Вот здесь я увидел очень серьезную активность избирателей.
Here in Bangladesh, I saw that voters are active.
И вот та встреча с одним из кандидатов в парламент показывает, каким образом, насколько активно избиратели, каждый, понятно, за своего кандидата, за свою партию, они вовлечены в политический процесс. Это невозможно сымитировать. Это действительно вовлеченность реальных граждан в политику, то есть в определение будущего данного государства. Вот это вот мне показалось чрезвычайно важным. И это дает основание говорить о том, что эти выборы носят легитимный характер.
Probably, yeah. Gave legitimacy to the election already. ভালো শুনে ভাই হ্যাঁ আপনারটা আমার কেন্দ্র আছে Dhaka, slightly outskirt, like interior neighborhoods. Very low photograph. Really saw the photo.
Now we have among us His Excellency Mr. Mohammed Musa Mizeh, Government High Commissioner to Nigeria. Excellency, you would like to share your wishes.
I saw your story. You're pretty close.
Assalamu alaikum. It's indeed an honor and a privilege to come to your beautiful country and witness these elections. And I'm here today with my two colleagues, the parliamentarian, to come and also witness these very important elections. We must say we've been very impressed with what we've seen so far. And by the way, we are from the Gambia. It's on the west coast of Africa. We commend the government and people of Bangladesh for very peaceful elections. We are equally impressed with the voters' discipline, patience, and peaceful conduct of these elections. Most notably, the women and the youth for their show of patriotism, commitment to democracy by turning out in large numbers to vote. We also commend the National Election Commission for its professional conduct on the voting process and laud and appreciate the Joint Security Task Force for ably providing an election security. We also commend all the volunteers on how they were able to help the voters. It was indeed a good sign to see all the different party volunteers sitting together and working side by side. This is historic. Most often time, party agents don't sit together. Most often time, party agents are in confrontation. But what we saw today was very, very impressive. All of them sat in one tent and they were all doing their jobs together. So we should clap for ourselves, clap for yourself. Well done. Finally, we urge the media, political parties, and candidates avoid the temptation to call on the election results ahead of the official election results. On that note, I just want to thank you once again, and we will go back and share the good things we've seen in Bangladesh. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
So, questions, if you have anything to ask.
Ahlan, sahlan.
It's okay. And finally, I forgot, I must thank our ushers from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They've been very, very helpful, and we appreciate them. Thank you all. And of course, the security sector, they have been very helpful. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
They're moving separately, visuals, videos moving separately, photos are moving separately. That's for them. কি করুন ভাই, সব তো লেজিটিমেট ভালো, আর কি কমো আর প্রশ্ন করা উচিত বলে মনে হয় আপনার?
সোহেল নিচে নামো, সব নিয়ে নিচে নামো।
আসিফ ভাই আর কেউ আছে? আর কেউ আছে? আরে কি আরো আছে? সবাই ধরে ধরে আনতেছে, আগে স্টেপে পড়াই দিতেছে নাকি? জয় বাংলা, জয় বাংলা। আমার মালিক কিন্তু
আমরা নির্বাচন বৈধ করে আসি, নির্বাচন
ইয়ামিন ভাই, আপনাদের মনে হয়েছে ইউজেবল কিছু আছে, কোর্ট আছে কোনো?
পার্লামেন্টটা এসে গেল। Who is covering what? কে আসছে?
I'd rather do some more work.
Oh, really sorry, I will take